Hey, everyone. So I think we'll make a start. We've got a few people in already, but I know that there are quite a few registered for today's session, and it looks as though the numbers are relatively low. So just a quick point out that the session is being recorded. So for anybody or any colleagues that haven't made it onto the session for whatever reason today, that it is being recorded, and the slide deck and the video will be shared with anybody who was registered for the session. So although they're not here, they can then still get access and still view the content that we cover today. Okay, so thank you everyone for attending today. So my name is Peter McKinney. I'm a consultant for Compass Plus in terms of their delivery team. And today we've got myself, and we've got Charlie Fowler from Unifrog. Charlie's on the bottom there. And we've also got a guest panelist, Emma Leaney, today as well, who's going to give us some insight from her perspective from using Compass Plus and Unifrog. So Charlie, Emma, would you both like to just say a quick hi?
Hi, everybody. Super excited to be on this webinar today. My role at Unifrog is I'm an area manager, so I manage partnerships in the east of England, North London and parts of the Midlands, and I'm also the education lead.
Fabulous. Thanks, Charlie. And Emma?
Hi, I'm Emma. I'm the Careers and Marketing Coordinator at Northstowe Secondary College. It's a new secondary just north of Cambridge. I've been in my role since November last year, and it's a big year for us because it's our first year 11 cohort.
Oh, brilliant. Lovely. Fabulous, Emma. So look forward to hearing from both of you during the session today. We've also got a bit of a backroom team who are supporting on the Q&A, and we've got Costas from CEC and also Francis, and then we've also got Leah from Unifrog as well. So Costas, Francis, Leah, would you like to just say a quick hello?
Hi guys.
Lovely, thank you, Leah.
Afternoon, guys. This is Costas, Customer Success Manager at CC. A word of warning, I'm just getting over a chest infection, so if I do start coughing while I'm doing my little bit, bear with me. And Peter, feel free to jump in if I'm looks like I'm dying. Cheers.
Thanks, Costas.
Hi everyone, I'm Francis. I'll be keeping my eye on the Q&A for the session today. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the introductions. Okay, so today's agenda for everybody. So we've got some learning outcomes that we'd like to get through for today. We'd ideally like everybody to go away with a recommended way to use both products together and successfully doing that. To understand how to download and upload detail from Unifrog into Compass Plus, and then the value of actually doing that and the information you can get back from the data that comes into Compass Plus, and then what you can do with it as a result to help to provide a great careers provision for your learners. And then like always, we'll leave time at the end for Q&A. Hopefully, Leah, Costas and Francis have been working their magic during the session, so we may not have very many at the end, but if we do, we'll leave time for that to go through. So ultimately, learning objectives or learning outcomes for today to understand how to use Compass Plus and Unifrog effectively together. So two individual pieces of software, but can very well combine together to create a really great impact. And then, like again, we always have the help and support session. So you can identify where you can go if you have any problems, any queries, certainly from a Unifrog perspective and also from a Compass Plus perspective. So we'll go through that as well at the end. Okay, so I will just turn my camera off so that you can then see the full screen, hopefully. Okay, so we'll start at the beginning, as we always do. So we'll have a look at a model way in which you can use both products together. And we'll start with sort of a simple principle. So we've got the two products that have quite a broad range in functionality, with some overlap between the two of these in some places. But ultimately, they've both got strengths in each of the products in multiple areas as well. So We'd start with suggesting you use Compass Plus strategically in order to sort of direct your provision, and then also to help you review your performance. You'll do this at sort of key points or key stages throughout the year. And in doing this, it helps you to just identify sort of where you're going and maybe how you want to get there. So that's kind of where we would start with the Compass Plus side of things in terms of the process. And then we move on to Unifrog. And we would suggest that you sort of use Unifrog tactically to run through your activities, as we call them in Compass Plus, or interactions in Unifrog. And combined, the two products should work sort of synchronously together, in which it can give you an ideal view of your careers program, and how, if you need to, you can change, amend, or duplicate the plan that you have in place already. So that's kind of our process. We would say look at Compass Plus strategically to see where your gaps may be, use Unifrog tactically, and then combine the two together to address any gaps that you might have. Okay, so, and thinking about how you might do that in operational terms, then we've got sort of this nice little 4-step overview, and it's quite a simple process, and so we've broken it down so that you get the best out of each step. So for step 1 on our review stage, so we would suggest here that we look at sort of previous Compass evaluations. You may even dip into your future skills questionnaire results if you've been using those as well. And from those two areas, you may be able to then identify and put a plan in place to sort of look ahead for that year, or you may do it and you're mid-year and then you want to sort of put the plan in place for the remainder of the year. But by having a review of your current situation in terms of career provision and where you are as a result of your evaluations against sort of benchmarks, that type of thing, that can then help you to put any interventions in place, or to address any areas that may need your attention to be able to achieve your ultimate aim. Then we're looking at our second step there, our second stage, and that's about logging and managing your activities. And Charlie will take us through that further on in the webinar today. But for those of you that have already used Unifrog and you're very, very familiar with how to create interactions and upload them, that type of thing, then that's great. But there may be some people on the session today that are a little bit less familiar with how to do that. They may be new into role. So the information that Charlie goes through will be hopefully really useful and really beneficial to you in that area. Then we've got our third step there about importing the careers interactions into Compass Plus. So this is another section that we'll go through today. This will be sort of manned or orchestrated by the lovely Costas, as long as his voice holds up and he can make his way through it. But Costas will explain how you can download the information from Unifrog and then also upload that into Compass Plus. Hopefully, it's, in an ideal world, it is a very simple process and should normally take no more than a couple of minutes to do from start to finish. But again, that's obviously an ideal world and IT working the way that we all want it to. But that's our third step. So we've logged and managed our activities in Unifrog, or our interactions in Unifrog. We will then import all of those into Compass Plus, and then step 4 there, sort of systematically, you would then check your progress for those interactions and those activities that have been uploaded into Compass Plus. So that could be just done through your evaluation. So it should give us a nice sort of cycle through, so you can check your progress every half term in Compass Plus. We'll show you a way to get the information from the data from Unifrog into Compass Plus, and then how you can then sensor check it just to make sure that you are heading in the right direction in terms of your careers program and careers provision. And if you're not, what you can then do as a result of that, and how you then can put any interventions in place so that you can adjust things as needed and make sure that you then get back on track as a result of that process. So nice little simple 4-step approach. hopefully today's session will explain how that can be done in real sort of simple terms. Okay, so if we start with our review stage. So those of you that have been on any Compass Plus or CEC webinars, you'll know that we sort of always start by looking at Compass evaluations and sort of the information that they then give you. So if you take a Compass evaluation or a review, and you look at the data from that can help you identify where you are in terms of achieving benchmarks and where your areas are that you need to address. Similarly with that, we've also got on there about the Future Skills Questionnaire. So the information and the data that you gain from the FSQ is that it's slightly sort of different to the benchmarks and the evaluations, is that you get that real-time interpretation of what your learners are perceiving to be their careers program and their careers education. And if there are any anomalies or if there are any gaps and sort of areas that you weren't expecting negative responses to, that you can then put interventions in place, and you may want to sort of reinforce or strengthen those areas. And coupled with the Compass evaluation data, you can then really start to put in place a strong individualized careers provision. You can then use all that data to align with your school's vision and the multi-year plan that they may have in place, and you can look to potentially prioritize areas across the year if the school's wanting to look at specific benchmarks or cohorts or characteristics. And if you want to make progress in certain specific areas, then the information and the data from the Compass Plus evaluations and also the FSQ can help you with that. And using this can help guide and review the planning process, which is where we ultimately say that recommend that everybody start. So you're going to start at the review part, have a look at where you currently are based on the results from FSQ and your Compass evaluations, and that then will then hopefully give you a real insight into where you need to be going to be heading in the right direction. Okay, so Charlie, if I'll just come on with camera here. Charlie, would you like to jump in at this point and talk about how to log and manage interactions in Compass Plus? Sorry, beg your pardon.
In Unifrog, yeah. Thank you, Peter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so I appreciate that the difference in language can be confusing, right? Because we call them careers interactions. On Compass Plus, they're activities. But just to be super, super clear, everyone, they're one and the same thing in this Unifrog Compass Plus universe. So once you've used Compass Plus to really think about sort of, as Peter said, sort of where your gaps might be, what areas you want to focus on for developing your provision, once you're then ready to kind of deliver that and to fill those gaps, that's when you would log careers interactions on Unifrog. So I imagine that many of you will be familiar with this process already. If you're not familiar with it, then I would highly recommend booking in a staff training call with your account manager, or we've got sort of written guides and little videos which show how to do it. But in a nutshell, you use the advanced manage page on Unifrog to log your careers interactions. So whenever you've logged a careers fair or a mock interview day or an employer encounter, personal guidance interview, anything like that, that's what we consider an interaction. And you can log that for an individual student, you can log it for a whole year group, multiple year groups, registers, tutor groups, etc., all in one go. There shouldn't really be any situation where you're ever sat there logging an interaction 30 times for 30 different students. When you're logging the interactions, you're going to see a page which looks like the left screenshot on the slide there. And it's really important that when you are filling out that form that you select which Gatsby benchmarks the interaction relates to, because that is the kind of key piece of information that is going to be extracted and uploaded into Compass Plus. So do make sure that you select the Gatsby benchmarks which are relevant to the interaction, and you can select more than one. We will also try and predict which benchmarks are relevant based on what title you've called that interaction. So for example, if the title is something like Careers Advisor Interview, you'll see benchmark 8 kind of highlighted to you. So do make sure that you've selected some Gatsby benchmarks that relate to that interaction. If you've got any questions kind of immediately about how to log interactions, do pop them in the Q&A, as Leah, one of my colleagues, is managing that, so she can answer them. But do get in contact with your own Unifrog regional teams as well. So once you've logged your careers interactions, you can also use different parts of Unifrog to track what interactions you've logged. So the screenshot on the right-hand side there is taken from the charts page. If you're not familiar with that page, if you log onto your Unifrog teacher account on the home page and scroll down about a third of the way, you'll find the usage charts section. And there are a bunch of different charts that summarize Unifrog usage at your school, some of which refer to interactions. So those charts will summarize for you in a kind of nice visual way, things like what proportion of students have had different types of interactions, such as one-to-one guidance or WEX. There's also a chart which summarizes what percentage of students have had interactions logged for them that link to each benchmark. So if you're just looking for kind of the bare quantitative numbers of how many benchmark 5 interactions you've got, how many benchmark 8 interactions you've got, Unifrog can give you that. But Compass Plus is really there to give you that evaluative comment on what you're doing, is that kind of good enough, and what you can do to improve. Thanks, Peter. Next slide. Thank you. So logging interactions on Unifrog, obviously great, because you should be logging what you're doing. However, there is also a benefit to the student. So Unifrog is both a staff and student-facing platform. So on the left-hand side there, you've got a screenshot of a what's coming up feed. So every student on their Unifrog account has this at the top of their Unifrog profiles. And in that feed, they will see any interactions that have been logged for them by a member of staff ahead of time. So it's just a really helpful way for them to see what careers interactions are coming up this term, for them to kind of understand the journey that they're going to go on as part of your careers program. But obviously that only works if you log the interaction ahead of time. So generally, kind of best practice, we would suggest that you log interactions ahead of time. However, you can still log them after they've happened. On a student profile, if they scroll about halfway down their student homepage, they'll find their own interactions tool. So if a student were to go into that, they will see there the full record of interactions that have ever been logged for them, both in the past and in the future. So you're going to be kind of hitting that sub-benchmark of benchmark 3, where you should be keeping records, but also making those records accessible to students. There's also a nifty new feature where students can give feedback on interactions via their interactions tool. But the key kind of message really is that when you're logging interactions on Unifrog, they're logged on the staff side for your sake, but they're also going to be automatically shown to the relevant students. Thanks, Peter. Next slide. So once you've logged your interactions, you're going to then want to transfer that interactions data from Unifrog into Compass Plus. This happens on the advanced manage page. That's the same page that you would have gone to log the interactions. So in the bottom right-hand side of the advanced manage page, there is a download button. It's highlighted with a red circle on the slide in front of you. So when you click that download button, you'll then see a long list of all the different spreadsheets you might possibly want to download. And you need to find the spreadsheets that are titled CSV Summary for CEC Compass Plus. And again, that sort of list is shown there on the right-hand side. So you'll select one of those spreadsheets and it will download a spreadsheet to your device, which you'll then upload into Compass Plus, which will be explained to you shortly. One kind of key troubleshooting thing to remember is that before you click that download button, you must make sure that on Unifrog, your students' UPN numbers are on there. So when you add your students to Unifrog, you'll bulk upload them by sending us a spreadsheet with all of their details. One of the columns on that spreadsheet is for UPNs. Sometimes schools send us the data back and they exclude the UPN numbers. They don't include them. They don't realize that they've done that. They go on to Unifrog to download their interactions data, try and put it into Compass Plus, and Compass Plus says, computer says no. That is the most kind of number one wall that careers leaders hit when trying to do this process. So make sure that you have UPN numbers on Unifrog first before you attempt the download from Unifrog and upload into Compass Plus. You can check if students' UPNs are on Unifrog on your teacher account. So if you go to your teacher account homepage, scroll about halfway down, you'll find a box that says Grid Editor on it. And you'll be able to look at students' IDs on there. And if they're blank, it means the UPNs are not on there. If they're on there, if there are numbers next to each student, that means you're fine. If you've got any kind of questions about how to do that, do drop us an email, or like I said before, Leah's in the Q&A box, so she can answer any immediate questions as well. But do double check that before you attempt this process if you haven't successfully done that download from Unifrog, upload into Compass Plus process before. Thanks, Peter. Next slide.
Fabulous. Okay, so thank you for that, Charlie. That was really, really thorough. So we can see there from Unifrog how you can log your interactions, where you go to do that, and then from that how you can then download the CSV file from Unifrog. And the next stage, which we're going to hand over to the lovely Costas, is how you would then upload that CSV file from your desktop, wherever you got it saved, into Compass Plus. So Costas, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter, and thanks, Charlie, for that. And just to reiterate, we can't stress enough how important it is to have those UPNs in Unifrog. That's how Compass Plus knows which learners to associate your activities with. So please ensure you have those UPNs in Unifrog before you download your data. Okay, so once you've got the download from Unifrog, really easy to get them into Compass Plus. We'll literally take you guys a couple of minutes to do it. So in Compass Plus, if you go into your the activities tab on the left there, that Peter's now highlighting for us. So once you click on that, that'll then take you into your activities page. So next slide, please, Peter.
Yeah.
And then from there, you'll see to the right there, there's a couple of actions. There's a sort of down arrow, which is down to download your plan, and up arrow to upload activities to your plan. Click on that up arrow, and that will take you to another screen. It's basically asking you to select the file that you want to upload. So next screen, brilliant. Okay, so from here, you can either click that button that Peter's highlighting there to select the file, and that will just allow you to browse your PC, your laptop, and select the file, the same as you would do attachments to an email, for example. Or you can drag and drop that file into that sort of window in Compass Plus, and that will do it for you. Okay, and then once you've done that, you'll get a pop-up saying that your activities have been uploaded successfully, or they haven't. So I think there's one more slide here, Peter, please. Okay, so there in that example, I did one I prepared earlier, as I say. So you can see in that example, 102 of 102 activities successfully imported. So that's the message you'd expect to see. There isn't a limit to how many activities you can upload. I say there's no limit, there's no fixed limit, but obviously the more you've got, if you have got really loads and loads, like thousands, it'll probably time out before it gets done. But we've had people upload sort of 500, 600 activities in one go. So it's really easy to do, really quick. And if you do have any issues, if there are any problems with the upload, Compass Plus is really good. It'll be very explicit with the error messages. It will tell you at line 5, there's an invalid UPN. At line 10, there's a no benchmark associated, and so on. So it should be really easy to identify the errors there. And I think Francis will at some point shortly post a help centre article in the chat to find those common errors and how to deal with those common errors. But if you really struggle once you've got your download to upload it, get in touch with us, and we can also support with that upload there. Okay, thank you, Peter.
There you go. As easy as that. Exactly how I was just saying before. So I will just stop sharing there and then I'll take that off. So yeah, exactly how Costa said, it's into activities, down to your activities, and then you can then upload from there, a quick select or a drag and drop, and then it's uploaded from your Unifrog into Compass Plus. So really was as sort of simple as that, and hopefully as time efficient as that as well. So which is always a big win. And then once the information is into Compass Plus, that is when you can then start to do this stage here. So the step 4. So looking at the impact, and the way that you can do that is in sort of a couple of areas here. So on the left hand side, We've got a selection here of activities that link to benchmark 3 that have been imported into Compass Plus from the interactions that have been logged in Unifrog. So we can see which particular activities these are straight away. And then on the right-hand side, which is always a big area that we focus on in order to assess the impact of the program that you have running currently, is to look at your data visualization. So that's done on the home screen, on the dashboard for your Compass Plus. And what you can then do is, rather than running a new evaluation, you could just simply click on the drop-down box that will be just above your dashboard for your data visualization, and then you could click on planned activities. What that will then do is it will allow you to see if the activities that are being uploaded into Compass Plus, once you run your next evaluation, this is where we will be for, in particular here, benchmark 3. So prior to the upload, we were on 63. And with the new activities or the new interactions that have been downloaded and uploaded from Unifrog, we would now be 100% complete on our benchmark 3. So it's a great way to see the impact of what you are logging within Unifrog, and then what that is then going to do against your benchmarks and your achievement of those. So it's a really, really simple process and a great way to see how you are managing and getting along against your plan. And again, it will then allow you to see if you need to do anything further, if you need to then go back to Unifrog and plan some more interactions with or create some more activities, that type of thing with learners. And then you could repeat that process, the download, upload, and then you could assess against your benchmarks in exactly the same way. So really, really powerful tool to use that will then provide you with a really up-to-date, real-time presentation of where you are against your careers program and the benchmarks. You can then obviously go to SLTs, governors, with this information here, kind of say, and sort of go with tangible information as to why you may be asking for extra budget, extra resource, that type of thing, because you want to put on more interactions, activities, that sort of thing. And so it really gives you the collateral to go into those conversations confidently. So another part of the impact, so when the information is downloaded from Unifrog and then uploaded into Compass Plus, what we've got here at the start, it creates a full institutional memory. So everything, and I know Charlie has mentioned it earlier as well, everything is sort of GDPR compliant, and so it's in an environment and a space where that information is safe, and it can't be and won't be shared with anybody that doesn't have access to it. You can, I just mentioned there, you can view your progress towards the Gatsby benchmarks via your data visualization. We can also then go into individual pupil or learner profiles, and we can look at the activities that they've got as an individual or interactions. And we can then see where we need to address any areas that are lacking within their benchmarks as well. You'll also be able to see the impact through the report facility that is within Compass Plus, where we can see who's missing out. So again, that will sort of link into the learner profiles, where we can address those who may have been missing out, or they may be in a protected or in a characteristic, sorry. And so we can then start to put interventions and plans in place to address those as well. We can also get impact from FSQ. So we could run the download and upload, and then depending on whether the FSQ has been completed, that can then also identify gaps. Like I mentioned earlier, the sort of learner voice from FSQ allows you to make those particular interventions that are necessary in order to address any areas where there is maybe knowledge lacking, that type of thing. And then lastly, it may impact upon you and may make you consider delivering FSQ as part of a blended Unifrog lesson. So you can do it as a sort of a collaborative approach to that as well. Okay, if I would just come back on, if Emma, could I introduce you again, please? And Emma is, like she mentioned before, from Northstowe Secondary College, and Emma uses both Unifrog and Compass Plus. So Emma's hopefully going to sort of give us a perspective of how she finds things. So Emma, over to you, please.
Thank you. So it's just a little bit of a background to start with. I use Unifrog with all my students at Northstowe, mainly in PSHE lessons. I use it to log interactions, to build students up a profile, and as a way to evidence my careers program. I also use it for work experience, which we did for the first time in July. And I use Compass Plus for self-evaluations, my benchmark tracking, and the future skills questionnaire. So I started using them together after a careers and enterprise company conference last January. We got to take part in some sessions, and one was essentially like this webinar that you're watching right now. The process was explained, like how they've done for you today. I went away and used it literally the next day because I thought seeing my predicted benchmarks was so cool. That was just like mind-blowing to me. Before the conference, I didn't actually know Compass Plus could be used for anything other than self-evaluations. I probably was a little bit naive in that, but you know, it taught me a lot. In terms of uploading interactions to Compass Plus, it's so easy. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I still have to look at the instructions because I've forgotten after the summer holidays maybe, but it's simple and I never encounter any problems. I import my activities to see my benchmark predictions. I find this really helps with my self-evaluations because sometimes I can doubt myself on some of the answers in the evaluations, and knowing that, so I can see my predictions, I can go, oh, okay, no, I do feel a little bit more confident that, you know, I've achieved that. And then those results also go to my enterprise coordinator, who then takes a look, sees how she can help us. I tend to upload the interactions at the end of each half term, so that once those interactions on Unifrog have been added, personally, I try and add all interactions literally ever, even if it's not that related to careers. Sometimes there's like a tiny element, so that it builds as much of a profile up for the students as possible. And then once I've uploaded and looked at my benchmark predictions and my evaluation has been completed, I actually use the Unifrog year plan to assist with planning my program each year and assist with any areas that I'm missing. When I first came into my role last year, the year plan was like gold dust to me. So if any of you are new and need to plan your program, it is a great place to start. Just contact your account manager. And then another way I use the platforms together is using the year plan that Unifrog do with their skills lessons as a base, because then I adapt it to use the future skills questionnaire as well. Sometimes otherwise it's a little bit tricky to integrate into a lesson on its own. And it's great because it can be adapted for each year group as well as part of the Unifrog year plan. Yeah, that's how I use it.
Thank you so much, Emma. That was a really nice, concise, honest sort of appreciation of how the two systems, I think, can complement each other, how they have real strengths independently, but then really do come together and work well in terms of helping you plan your careers, provision, interactions, activities, etc. So Emma, thanks so much for that. That was really, really helpful, and I'm sure everybody's found it really beneficial. So thank you for that. Okay, so that sort of takes us to our summary part of the process. And like mentioned earlier at the start, it's a lovely simple 4-step approach, and as sort of a recap. So we've got step 1 there, where we're going to check our progress every half term, like Emma has just said there, where she does things half termly, and we're going to check our progress to see where we are at that current point in time. We would then move into our second stage, which is planning ahead within Compass Plus, so we can then start to look and see what we need to do and where we need to be improving, whether that be through information from or data from the FSQ, whether that be data from your current and previous Compass evaluations. That data there can really provide sort of strategic information that you can then go seamlessly into step 3 there, where within Unifrog you can then plan and manage your activities and your interactions across the year. And it may be that, like Charlie said there, and Emma, that it's really, really important that you record all of those in there, as many or as few as you possibly have, so that you can really start building up that robust careers program that's going to benefit your learners. So then from our third stage there, it's this was kind of the part where Costas was mentioning, so we're going to download them from our Unifrog, and then we're going to upload them into our Compass Plus, and then we will start to do that sort of review, that evaluation of how is our benchmarks looking now as we've uploaded the interactions and the activity. So are we ahead of where we thought we were going to be? Are we exactly where we were hoping we'd be as per our plan? Or, you know, have we got work to do here and more activities and interactions to put in place? And then we kind of go back to that step one. So it's a really, you know, a 360, lovely, never-ending approach to sort of careers provision. And it really does allow you to provide the best, most individualized careers provision program for your learners, based on sort of the two systems working synchronously together. Okay, so moving on to our sort of final part of the session. We're slightly ahead of time here, but that's absolutely fine. I think we've covered everything in relevant detail, and we haven't missed anything out that would have been important for you to take away. But if I just put my camera on, Charlie, would you like to start with your sort of support side, and then I'll move on to the Compass Plus? Oh, I think you're on mute.
Classic.
Perfect.
So, sorry about that, everyone. Yeah, so in terms of support for this, so we obviously have our partner success team. They're our central kind of office-based team who are on hand to help you with urgent stuff. I would just kind of say that at the current point in the academic year is a super busy time for them. So if you are going to reach out to them for help, please do expect a response in potentially kind of 2 days rather than our usual 24 hours. But you can absolutely drop them a call or email them for any support with things like adding UPN numbers retrospectively. I saw somebody had asked in the Q&A about that. We can make that happen. So anything kind of admin-y, the partner success team are a good first port of call. Your account manager, so every region has a different account manager. You should be kind of in regular contact with them. If you've got questions about things like sort of what should be logged as an interaction, when to log interactions, that sort of stuff, then your account manager can help you with that and do sort of staff training, sort of thing. If you're the kind of person who likes to teach yourself, then if you log onto your teacher account, at the top of your teacher homepage, there's a help button. If you click on that help button, you'll find a search bar, and in there you'll find, if you type in interactions and Compass Plus, you'll find instructions on how to do this.
Fabulous. Thanks, Charlie. That's great. So that's where you can access support from Unifrog. Within Compass Plus, if like I mentioned earlier, if anybody has been to our webinars and sessions in the past, we always sort of finish with where you can access help and support. And with Compass Plus on the dashboard page, on the navigation panel down at the very bottom, there will be a help center button there. So you would click the help center button. That will then take you to a different sort of landing page where you've got access to web links or hyperlinks with sort of little short YouTube videos. You will have hyperlinks to sort of narrative pieces as well there, where you can go on and access information. There is also a section in there where you can gain access to previous webinars. So, for example, this webinar will then be uploaded there. So if you need any help or advice on how to upload, download, that type of thing, you can always go back and watch previous webinars as well. So the help section or the help center is a real must within Compass Plus. It allows you to be sort of proficient in using it, and the more you use it, the better you get. So you get a lot more confidence in being able to troubleshoot and manage any issues as they creep up. Secondly there, and Emma just mentioned it about your enterprise coordinator. So she always goes to hers for help and advice, and we would always advise the same for anybody using Compass Plus. So if you have got any queries, any problems, and you want to know how to utilize Unifrog and Compass Plus, and you're struggling, your enterprise coordinator will hopefully be able to point you in the direction of other users, so you can get that sort of peer-to-peer support. And if not, then they may hopefully be able to help you as well. And then our third point, which is what Costas alluded to earlier, is that we have our Compass Plus help desk as well. So you've got the link there. You can also access that within the help center. So if for whatever reason you've searched through the help center and different articles, but you still haven't managed to find the solution to your problem, maybe really unique, then you can get in touch with our help desk there, and you can create a ticket, and they will then get back in touch, and they are very timely with their response and their help on that as well. So you've got sort of a range of different pieces of help and support that are there, certainly from Unifrog's perspective, and then also Compass Plus's as well. Okay, so that we are slightly early on our sort of timings. If we have any questions, so this is the part where I will definitely open it up to Francis, Costas, and then also, before I do that, if I can just leave this screen on as a backdrop, if everybody that is still on the session, if you could access the QR code there and leave any feedback from the session that you've just watched and took part in, it will be really helpful. All the feedback that we get from these sessions is vitally important for future sessions, so that we can understand where we are doing things well and meeting the needs of everybody that's on the session, but importantly, where we could maybe improve, things we could change. We're always about, we're not precious about how we particularly run things. We're always wanting to try and make these sessions as useful and as beneficial as possible for everybody that's on. So if people could access that, I've no doubt Francis has probably dropped links into the Q&A and chat and things as well, to ask people to do this. But if she hasn't, then that is there as well. And other than that, from my point of view, thank you everyone for attending. Charlie, Emma, Leah, thanks so much for being part of the panel and the delivery team. It's very much appreciated.
Thanks, Peter. I've just got something else I wanted to add, if I might.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Is that okay? Sorry, I'll put my hand down now.
No, definitely.
Yeah, so a question came up in the Q&A. So somebody asked how they can share interactions with parents.
Right.
So sorry, I should have mentioned this when I was doing my little bit. So with the interactions, when you log them, they're going to be automatically pushed to students. If you have it set up on Unifrog so that your parents at your school receive summary emails about their child's Unifrog usage, then they will receive a list of interactions that have been logged for their child in that weekly summary email. The weekly summary emails is an optional feature of Unifrog. It doesn't come with any cost associated with it, but it's not something which we set up by default. It's something which you need to request from us. So if you would like it set up so that parents receive these weekly summary emails, which will include what interactions have been logged, please contact your account manager and they can explain how to do that. It's worth mentioning, if you don't log any interactions, we're not going to email the parent to say, this week, absolutely nothing happened in regards to careers with your child. So we only email them once a week if something has been logged, and we don't email them more than once a week if more than one thing has been logged. It's just in that summary email. Another alternative you've got for sharing interactions with parents, if you don't want it to be done via email, then on the download page that you'd go to download the CSVs for Compass Plus, you can also download lists of interactions in PDF and Word doc format. And each of those kind of PDF pages or Word doc pages will have the kind of student's name at the top and then a list of interactions that have been logged for them. So some schools choose to sort of share those with parents in a physical format on kind of parents' information evenings, that sort of thing. So there are sort of different ways that you can do that with parents. And also, just to reiterate something else, which I neglected to mention earlier, which I should have, is that you can bulk upload UPNs retrospectively. So when you add new year groups to the platform, there's a student ID column, please put them in there. But if you forget to do that, or if your data manager doesn't do that, that's fine. Just ask us for the bulk upload UPN spreadsheet and we can add it retrospectively.
Fabulous. Super. Okay. Francis Costas, is there anything in the Q&A that we need to go through at all, or is everything all taken care of by the...
There's another question about interactions and parents. I think it's a follow-on from what you were saying just now, Charlie. Are you able to answer that one from Faye in the Q&A?
If I'm logging a career plan in interactions, will that be sent? Okay, so Faye, I'm assuming that you're referring to like an action plan. So no, we just tell the parent the title of the interaction. So when you're logging an interaction on Unifrog, you can add attachments. This is very commonly used by careers advisors when they're logging personal guidance interviews. Yeah, great. Yeah, just to kind of confirm that we don't send any attachments to any interactions to parents. So that would not be shared with the parent.
Fabulous.
Marvellous. Thank you. There's another one here about how does Unifrog select the benchmarks automatically? So far, I have had to add them myself.
Okay, so it's based on whatever you put in like the title field. So if you type in university talk, then benchmark 7 will be highlighted. It won't be ticked. We never tick them for you, but you'll notice that some of the benchmarks will have a kind of more highlighted color than others. So it's just based on what wording you use in the title field.
Marvellous, thank you. And can I bulk upload one-to-one interviews as they are planned far in advance and it is very admin heavy to do them one by one?
No, you'll need to add them one by one because we expect that you'll want to add obviously different details and kind of learning focus areas and stuff like that for each student. So if you're finding it admin heavy, I just suggest you log them retrospectively and you use some other system to keep track of stuff you've got in advance. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you very much. And there's one question here about, do Compass Plus reports feed into your Compass scores? So your Compass evaluation score is a self-assessment. So it's a self-assessment of how you are meeting the Gatsby benchmarks, and your Compass Plus reports will help you to analyse the kind of how you're achieving those benchmarks. So it doesn't necessarily feed directly into your Compass score because you're completing that yourself through the self-assessment. So hopefully that's answered that question as well. And that is all. Oh, we've got another one. We've got a Unifrog one here. Does Unifrog allow for a report to be generated for the students so they can keep a record of career activities whilst at school for after they leave and no longer have an account through school?
Yes, Daniela, it does. So just to be super clear about when we kind of close student Unifrog accounts, if your school or college continues to have a Unifrog subscription, your students will be able to continue to be able to log in. So if they don't log in up to 4 years after they leave school, then their account will be automatically sort of deleted at that point. But up to 4 years after, it will continue to be live, so they could log in at any point, provided you have a subscription and look at their interactions tool. That being said, if you did want them to kind of have a PDF copy of the interactions that have been logged for them whilst they're at school, I just suggest that at the end of year 11 or the end of year 13, whenever your school goes up to, get them to log into Unifrog and get them to go into their interactions tool, scroll right down to the bottom of the list of all of the wonderful things you've delivered, part of your careers provision. And then at the bottom, they'll see a button there where they can download those interactions as a PDF themselves. So if you want them to have a kind of paper copy that way, then you could get them to do that. You can also download those PDFs on their behalf on the teacher side of the platform, but they will be able to log in for up to 4 years after they leave you and see that list kind of online.
Fabulous. Thank you very much. We've got another one here about attendance. Have you any advice about the best way to manage attendance for interactions, especially when whole year groups are invited, but the interaction is optional?
Great question. So we, I can't remember exactly when we brought in the feedback feature, but whenever we did, we also added a button where students can either confirm or deny their attendance. So what I would suggest you do is you log the interaction, say for the whole of year 10, and then when you're logging the interaction, when you're filling out the form, make sure that you tick the box at the bottom of the form that says, I think it says request student feedback. If you tick that box, then when the student gets the email notifying them about the interaction, or they see the interaction on their Unifrog profile, there'll be a prompt for them to give feedback. And the first question they need to answer is if they attended or not. So you can use that to sort of manage the attendance that way.
Lovely. Thank you very much. I think this is a Costas question.
Oh.
I feel like it's a Costas question. Is there a way of transferring student email addresses from Unifrog to Compass Plus through CSV, or is there a separate form for Compass Plus, as this information has not carried over from MIS?
Okay, so you can't transfer it via CSV, but we'll send you the guidance notes because we can pull that data directly from your MIS. So if it's not appearing in Compass Plus, it's probably because your IT contact has excluded the option to import that data. But it's a checkbox in group call, and we can send you the guidance on how to enable or disable that.
Thanks, Costas.
Thank you, Costas. Can you send me the link to that guidance, and I can pop it in the Q&A for Courtney there, please? Marvellous. And there's a question here that Charlie would like to answer. I'm very grateful for that.
That's okay. I can read the question.
Fantastic. Thank you, Charlie.
So for the benefit of everybody else, Sarah's asked, we have a school with 2 separate campuses. They have different Compass Plus accounts, but a single Unifrog platform. The different campuses are shown as tags. Tags, for anybody who's not familiar, are a way of grouping students together on Unifrog, which are totally bespoke to your setting. Have you any idea of how this can be managed in the download before uploading to Compass Plus? Yes, Sarah. So when you get to the advanced page, just before you hit that download button in the bottom right-hand side, make sure that you use the filter button and then select tag and then the name of one of those tags. So I don't know what your campuses are called, but let's say they're called Campus A and Campus B. So you'd click filter, tag, Campus A, then you'd download and select the Compass Plus CSV download, and you'd upload that into Campus A's Compass Plus account. Then you go back to Unifrog, make sure that you remove the Campus A tag filter. So just click on the little cross thing, and then click filter, tag, Campus B, then download, and then download the CSV. No worries, Sarah, that's okay.
Thanks, Charlie.
Excellent. No open questions.
Yay, lovely.
No open questions. We had 36. No, we had more than that. We had quite a few. So thank you, Charlie, for your support with that one.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was a great Q&A. Really pleased with that. So thanks, Charlie, for that. Thank you, Francis and Costas and Leah as well for manning the Q&A in the chat. And thank you, Emma, for your really honest evaluation of how you use the 2 systems. Really, really beneficial. So that now brings us to a nice easy close. So thanks everyone for attending. I hope it was useful, and hopefully see you on our next webinar. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you all.